Welcome back to another Q&A video. We are back in my front room. I did my last Q&A in here. It's just very light and springy. Last Q&A I did for my beveries of choice, by the way, guys. I had 2 diet sodas for the ride. My beveries for now are water, and I have my lion's mane mushroom in with some almond milk because I've been playing around with my caffeine intake. It's still so hot, but that's so yummy. So I haven't been having coffee, but yeah, I'm still going strong on my Diet Coke. Cut it outage. I haven't had diet soda this year yet, and I really don't miss it as much as I thought. I do miss it sometimes, but not as often, but that's just a little update for me. Those are my bevies that I'm sipping on. Okay, I asked you guys on my Instagram story for some just general questions. I feel like we haven't caught up in a while, so I thought that would be kind of the vibes. I have no like script or anything written out. I just thought that I like watching Q&As that are very just casual, hang out with me, answer some questions kind of thing. So I'm challenging myself to not make it overly edited and like transferred to a Google Doc, so I have it, or just answer questions and hang out. Isn't that fun? Okay, first question asks, have you had any injuries? If so, how do you find a balance between staying active and recovery? Fitness specific injuries, no. I'm so blessed and grateful that I've never like thrown my back out or something like that. That sentence kind of makes me giggle. I promise I'm mature. Taking breaks from the gym because of physical things, yes. I got a rhinoplasty and septoplasty in 2022. So I needed to take at least, I think it was a month off of that from the gym. And I did also get my wisdom teeth and a tonsillectomy a week apart in January of 2023. Hey, don't do that, by the way. If you're just ever curious, hell. And I needed to take a break of the gym for that period as well for recovery purposes because you're like medicated, and also for my nose, there's so many capillaries in there that you really don't want to be training. How I go about that process is I listen to the doctor. Okay, it's not like there's some hack or anything. I would go on walks with my mom a lot, with my dogs. That was like low impact movement that was cleared. But quality performance in the gym is dependent on quality recovery. So it's really important that you're listening to your doctor's orders and not pushing anything and then reintroducing exercise when your body is literally ready for it. If you're the kind of person who's asking questions like this, how do I stay consistent when I'm injured or something like that? That gives you proof you are somebody who values your routine. You have no problem lifting. So the gym is always gonna be there and you're gonna get right back into plan when you can. But there's no point in rushing it and injuring yourself further because that could actually keep you out of the gym longer, long term. It was a little bit mentally challenging to take a little bit of a break, but I just focused on other variables like school and hanging out with friends and doing creative hobbies and things like that. And the time passes, it's okay. If you gotta take a month, 2 months off, that's really not that long grand scheme. I know it feels maybe like a while, but just listen to your doctor, please. Rest and recover, and the gym will always be there. How fun is that? What a blessing. Someone asked, what is your favorite show at the moment? Why did my brain just go to Tanked? I have not watched an episode of Tanked since like 2013, but I need to now. Nick and I have been playing around with shows right now. We just watch baking shows. We're watching the Great British Bake Off. Oh, they call each other bub. Okay, anyways, so that's not offensive. That's just so that we usually watch. We also watch a lot of Shark Tank. Maybe that's why I was thinking about that. My waxer recommended that we watch White Lotus. Somebody fill me in here because I like did not enjoy it at all. I thought it was very weird. The plot, I didn't understand it, and I thought it would pick up and like you would put context. No, we watched the first season. It was interesting in the way of like I'm uncomfortable. I don't know if that's the point of the show, if it's kind of like Black Mirror in that way. I do love Black Mirror, but I don't watch a lot of shows, but I've been really trying to get into it and just like sitting down and enjoying leisure time. That's been a priority of mine. And so we watched White Lotus, didn't really love that. We loved The Haunting of Hill House. He showed me that one. And now we're going on to The Haunting of Bly Manor, I think, which is like very similar cast in a different show. So we've been watching that and really enjoying that. But I don't really watch a ton of shows either. So let me know if you have any good recommendations. But I was not a fan of White Lotus. I don't know if I'm just not seeing the vision correctly. I love the people in it. People say that I talk like, oh my God, what is her name? What is her name? Jennifer Coolidge. Some people, I've gotten multiple comments, so I felt at home there. And Sydney Sweeney, I mean, I'm not gonna not complain, right? Yeah, you get it. Someone asked, any plans for the summer? Many little ones. So I start with Georgia in May, I don't know what my plans, if you're asking that in regard to fitness stuff, are, because that depends a lot on what she thinks I'm ready for timeline-wise with prep and things like that. But little traveling plans, I know Nick and I are going to Tennessee for our 1-year anniversary on the first weekend of May. We're going to Nashville. I've never been to Nashville before, and I've been to Tennessee, but I have not been in Nashville. So I am so friggin' excited. We're doing that for a little trip weekend. And then we also got invited out to a wedding in June in Alaska. I feel like I need to like eagle squaw. So I'm so stoked about that. That's not like set in stone yet, but we are invited, and that'll probably be at least 3-day moment, because the flight, then the wedding, and then the flight, and we'd want to see, there's so much. I'm assuming it's in Anchorage. I don't have many details on that yet, but that's so exciting. I really wanted to plan to go to Europe at some point this year. I'm not sure if that's going to be a year thing, because I know that there's a lot of passport things that I need to go through. I have a passport. It's expired from when I went to Quebec in 7th grade for my French class, and the picture is mortifying. I need to like get that renewed, and I was talking to my aunt who travels a lot, and she said that the process for that, apparently they re-upped. Any of my European viewers, there's a new process, could you fill me in, where they're more particular, or it just takes longer or something. There's more rules. I don't really know, but I would love to go to Europe. I don't know if that's gonna be a thing for this summer though. But general plans are just to enjoy and to travel and to hopefully connect with some creators and go on like little trips like that I've reached out to a few that I'm really excited for, hopefully as well. Favorite color to wear versus favorite color in general. Favorite color to wear, black. I think black is so flattering and just badass. It's why on leg days, it's pretty much usually my costume, if you will. In general, I love red. I love a good green. Favorite anything, I feel insecure answering, because I'm like, what if it changes? Like, I don't want to be tied down. I love brown. I love earthy tones, I think is my answer. That's not a color, but that's what I'm doing. I got a lot of questions asking. Someone said, do you ever get food noise? How do you deal with it? Just constant thoughts. I'll be so for real. That word, food noise, I feel like is not, I'm not saying that what it's describing is not real, but I'm saying just that word. I feel like social media can make it very easy to associate with these things of like, oh, I'm like struggling with food noise, or are you a human who's hungry and needs to increase their food and their fat intake probably? You know, I think it can be very defining in a way and keep you very stagnant in that struggle, because you're just defining it by this weird word. I don't know, I think back to you think cavemans had food noise? No, they probably just were hungry and ate, and then that was it. So my advice, if you do struggle with thinking about food often, first of all, analyze your social media and clear and refresh your feeds. Because if you're looking at videos of food all the time, like recipes and macro tracking and what I eat a day and all those things, it's not even that you're struggling with that, it's that that's constantly what you're consuming. So it's gonna be harder to separate yourself mentally from those things. So on Instagram and on TikTok, I think on both of those, you can refresh your feed. Do that often. Get some new things going in your feed and not be looking at food all the time, because that's just not helpful. It's also another reason why I kind of stopped doing like what I eat a day videos, because it just caused me to be constantly filming my food, and I don't really think about it like that. In that way, they were fun when I did them, and I do, you know, enjoy doing them sometimes, particularly on my YouTube. I feel like it's just easier when it's long form content. I made that up. I don't know. Yeah, definitely analyze your social media, but overall, if you were thinking about food all the time, it's likely a sign that you need to increase your food. And if your goals are still to be in a fat loss phase or something, you can increase your volume. So really focusing on fiber, on veggies, fruits, you know, making sure that your fat is high enough. I know that might sound counterintuitive if your goals are to be in a deficit, but fat is very important for satiety. So protein is the most satiating macronutrient, but fat is pivotal for your health, okay? And in times where I did think about food, sometimes even after I ate and I knew I was physically full, I reflect now and understand that that meal was just a bunch of protein goo and there was no other macros in there. So try to have a more balanced meal if you can. And also play around with your environment. If you're eating a meal and then sitting in your kitchen, the kitchen is programmed your body to be hungry in it. So leave the room, give yourself 30 minutes, you know, go focus on something else, go do something else. And if you're still noticing that you're thinking about food after that 30 minutes, maybe that's a sign that you are physically hungry and you can listen to that cue. But yeah, I feel like food noise, I don't want to say it's cringy, but that vocabulary, I don't know. I don't know. I try to speak about those things very carefully. Sorry if I'm like boogie, guys. I went for a morning sunshine walk and it's kind of polleny outside, so sorry. yeah, stay super hydrated, control your controllables, and make sure that you're just overall eating enough to sustain yourself. What has been your favorite part about having a large social media following? Large. Now I'm thinking a big X to plug. The biggest, the largest. No, I appreciate that. That's really cute. My favorite part, I think, has been obviously helping other people, getting messages that I'm helping somebody, or, you know, I've gotten messages, hey, you know, I've rediscovered my love for the gym, or things like that. That means so much to me. From my perspective though, I've learned to embrace myself so much more because you guys are so kind to me. And even the weirdest things of cutting on the counter, of like things are gross and weird comments. I appreciate you guys sticking through with me with that beef video with my beef and yogurt. Like, you guys really are my ride or dies. And it's gone to show me that what you express, other people can love. And I think it's my favorite thing about it is, in a weird way, like feeling so comfortable being myself and playing around with what's, I don't want to say playing around with what's accepted, but you really don't know all the ways that you could be helping somebody by keeping yourself concealed. I guess that sounds like a better thesis statement. There have been things that I think, oh my God, particularly with my podcast, there's no way anybody relates to this. And then I'll post it, and then somebody will say, this is like literally my monologue. How did you know that? And it's been really cool because you're never, ever, ever as alone as you think. That's been really encouraging in times where I feel thought come up repetitively, and I'm like, well, do I talk about this? I know that there's definitely somebody else. If I'm feeling it, somebody else is feeling it too. And just having a community of you guys supporting me and genuinely wanting to see me do well, it makes my heart full and flutter. And I love you so much, and it means so much to me. Best advice for maintaining balance with school and fitness, especially during finals. It takes time management. It takes genuinely sitting down. When I journal every single morning, I sit down and make a priority list, top 3 priorities, okay? Sometimes my lift is on there. Sometimes it's usually just school things. And it just comes down to budgeting your time correctly. You make time for what matters to you. School does matter to you. I don't like saying should statements, but it should matter to you, okay? Let me spend these 2 hours doing my homework, and then I will pivot, I will have a lift, and then I will go back right into it. Being organized and just figuring out what works the best for your schedule and doing the best that you can. That's what I do. It's worked so far. It just comes down to trial and error and making sure that you're also budgeting time to relax. That's something that I also do on my budget, not on my budget, on my journals every morning. Like, for example, today I'm done with calls at 7:30. So I literally wrote from 7:30 to 8:30, calm down. Like, that is my decompress. That is my decompress. Capsule rose time. Genuinely have to remind myself to listen to that and not to be like, well, but I kind of feel good, so let me just keep Shh. Sit down, and that's a way to balance not only your school and your gym, but your mental energy as well. How can I boost my metabolism? Building muscle on your frame will increase your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. That comes down to resistance training consistently through progressive overload, pairing that with adequate nutrition, particularly a high protein diet is your balance, and consistency is your key to success there. But that takes a long time. Get muscle on your frame for longevity purposes, and because it's fun, it will help increase your BMR with time, over a long period of time. How do I find what my caloric intake should be as a gym girl other than a calculator app? So what she was referring to, this was Gabriella Rose 06, by the way, shout out queen, is a TDEE calculator, free resource. You can look it up, and that's how you can find what your maintenance calories are. Those apps and websites are just general ideas. I don't know how they gauge activity level on those, so I usually always set it for one less than what I think I'm actually doing. So that's usually like a moderately active or a lightly active or something. So much of diet is trial and error. You can use those things. Okay, my app suggests that my maintenance is around 1900. Maybe I'll try eating here for a little bit and see where things trend, and then find a pivot point from there. If you can just accept that it's not gonna be perfect right off the bat and just try something, that's how you figure it out. Honestly, there were times where I thought my maintenance was way higher than it was, and I was frustrated with why I wasn't seeing progress. It doesn't mean you're broken. You just have to find a pivot point. So I know now that I reflect, I was clicking the tab on those TDE calculators that say athlete, because that's 6 days a week of training, and I was just at the gym 6 days a week looking at recipes, like playing heyday, like not actually training. And so I was like, oh, I'm an athlete, and it told me my maintenance calories were way higher than they were. So being honest with yourself, trying something, and then having some kind of biometric to track your progress, okay? you know, my weight is here, this is where things are trending, so that's a good sign that my food is probably around maintenance. And that's honestly the easiest way to do it, I think. Because anything online, you can't compare to other people because we're all different people, so that wouldn't even make sense. Someone says, how's bodybuilding going? Please keep us updated. Growth season is going well. I start with Georgia in May, so she'll give me probably a more brutally honest evaluation of where I'm sitting. I do feel like I have not grown enough. I think I will probably need a little more time. I've been really trying to push food and stay on my shit. I've been checking off my boxes every single day, and I have gained weight. I've been tracking my weight. I think just the rate of it surprises me a little bit. I thought it would be higher than it is. So my guess is when we start together, we'll take at least maybe another month or so to grow before we start to go in prep. Are you a hot or cold weather girly? Both for different reasons. I love the hot weather because I love tanning and being outside and like a beautiful walk on a nice 80-degree day. I love that. But my birthday's in the winter, so it makes me want to say winter. And I do love just the feeling of being in a little, I feel like there's a boogie. Is there a boogie, guys? Don't answer that. I feel like I like being in a little hibernation and I always feel really productive in the winter. I don't really know what that means, but definitely a hot weather girly if I had to pick. If I wanted to choose like where I wanted to live for forever, it would be somewhere in a warmer climate for sure. What is your favorite thing or part about your routine? Ooh. I love my walks right now. They're really enjoyable with Bentley. We get some, it's also the weather is getting a lot nicer, so I love going on my walks. I also love journaling in the morning and just planning things out. I'm a very big organizational girly. Making a checklist, making my schedule out, staying organized, staying scheduled is so important to me to not lose my mind. So it's really fun for me to kind of plan things out. I feel like my own little, what is it called? The people, front desk lady that does the organizational? What is it called? That's a job, yeah? I don't know what the word is for that, but there's somebody who does that as their job. They schedule it. Apprentice? I don't really know. How to stop being afraid of eating more to put on muscle. To be blunt, if you want to put on muscle, you gotta eat more food. That's just it. You just gotta get over yourself. It can be scary while you do it. It can be scary while you cook your potato and just shovel it down. The scariest part of it is accepting that, okay, this is gonna be something that's gonna be hard for me, but then after that, that's all that it is. It's just a little bit hard. And you can do hard things. So when it comes down to that, I also would say that they say that values matter a lot too. If you value having strong muscle and feeling healthy and having the longevity of muscle on your frame, if you can value that over a temporary discomfort of maybe being a little bit overly full or something like that, it's gonna help a lot. So I'm very goal driven. That's why goals help me a lot. I have 2 podcast episodes on goals and how to create them and attain them. When you think about that, it really doesn't matter how you feel in the present moment. You know, like even in times when I need to push another meal and it's 10 p.m. and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a privilege. It's such a blessing to have a concern about that. And I know that down the line, the more that I take this growing season seriously, that will help me in prep or just in the future. So I just think about that because I'm like, okay, this is something that is uncomfortable right now, but good thing it doesn't fucking matter because I need to check my box off today. And just not giving myself the space to talk myself, how do I feel about this? You don't need to feel a particular way. It can be scary, and I validate that eating more, especially if you're not used to that or if it's a new process, can be scary, but that's all that it is an adjective. And you can go through it for long enough to change the adjective to something like exciting. And how cool is that? Do you deal with fear of missing out on friends for college or not getting the college experience? Not at all. Initially, yes. When my friends, for like freshman year, when my friends went off to their 4 years and I was doing community college, I was visiting them often. I loved that. I wish I could visit them more often now. I visited my friends very often freshman year because I was so anxious about missing out on partying and all of those things. And I had so much fun with that. But I am so grateful for the route that I've taken because it's caused so much self-reflection on my end. I've been able to do things that I would not have been able to do if I had gone on to 4-year. Things like starting my own business would not have been achievable if I had gone up to 4-year, and those things I value more. I'm not a huge like partier really anymore either. I feel like I really got that out of my system in high school and freshman, kind of into sophomore year of college. I really don't feel much of a fear of missing out at all because I'm focusing on what my goals are, and everybody's gonna have different ones. And that's kind of it. Ooh, I love this question. Abby said, what are some mini self-care things that you do? I like that. I do a lot of stretching, big stretch girly. I do a lot of positive affirmation-y things of kind of calming myself down. I honestly would say that some of my self-care also is calling Nick. We always call at the end of the day. And that decompression and just talking and catching up, that I would say is self-care because it's kind of like journaling because we just talk about our days and It's really healing to me. Even if it's just taking little breaks to sit outside whenever I'm in calls for a while, I'll just go outside of my mom's deck and just sit and breathe and listen to the birdies, and that's probably my favorite version of self-care because it's really calming. I would say painting my nails, y'all, but I'm still recovering. My nails are, if they're burned. I tried again and I burned all of these ones off. I don't know what to do. I would show you my feet, but y'all are freaks. I did a cute gel pink polish and I burned my toenails off. So I'm burned. Cannot wait until I can start again with nail polish because I love doing that. And I love my nails. You guys know they always look so cute, but they're mad at me right now. So I'm trying to just listen to that. Someone says, how do you weigh your sweet potatoes? I weigh them raw. It doesn't really matter which one you choose as long as you stay consistent with it and it's accurate. It doesn't really matter. What was your process when starting a podcast and how did you grow your platform so quick? I really appreciate that. My process was nothing cute. It was, hey, I kind of want to do this. And so I just looked up how you do it. And then it said that you could go get an app called Spotify for Creators, which I downloaded, and you could upload files there. And that's all that I did. There's no other process, no fancy mics. I record my podcasts like this in my office upstairs. And there's no process with that. When it comes to growing it, consistency and authenticity are your girlies. I am very blessed for growth and you guys supporting me. It means so much, but it's not linear. So just do what you love because you love it, not to expect anything. And usually people can sense when you genuinely feel like you have a purpose and a passion for something. And so you should follow that. Someone said, do you have cheat days? I'm trying to reframe how I view food. Good, because I do not have cheat days because I don't agree with that terminology. What are you cheating on? Food is just food. There's no moral weight attached to it. So if you want a cheeseburger, you're just a person who's eating a cheeseburger. There's no, mental, moral dilemma with that. If you assign food that, then you get the cheese touch when you eat the food. So if I have a donut and I think that donuts are really bad, then when I eat it, then I'm gonna feel really bad. But if I realize that, oh, we're multifaceted people, I could be somebody who cares about their health and still enjoys cake, it loses its appeal. It doesn't really matter. You can view food perhaps as things that maybe get you closer to your goals and things that might not be super supportive of your goals, but that might be a more neutral way of viewing it. There are foods that I don't eat very often, not out of any reason besides I don't crave them, and they're not really aligned for my goals right now. And I think having that kind of nonchalantedness around it can be helpful because if you put pressure on things, or you put, not even pressure, if you just view things that way, that gives you space to feel bad about yourself if you do those things, and that's silly, okay? I don't believe in cheat days at all. That gives foods categories and stuff, and that's just making it way deeper than it needs to be. Food is nutrition, okay? There's some that get you some places and some that maybe don't align at the best, but that's all that they do, is they don't align the best. That's it. That doesn't mean that you're bad for having them. You can be somebody who loves the gym and also loves to have a cocktail every once in a while. That's okay. Would you ever start running? Somebody asks. I don't really know. I have, sometimes when I'll run a mile, I'll feel really excited about that, but then that's kind of it. I think that would be a fun challenge in the future. Maybe definitely not for right now with recovery. It's just very high impact and I really want to focus on the bodybuilding side first. Maybe after that I would explore, who knows? Someone asked, do you have any kind of faith or belief system that you believe in? I was raised Christian. My dad is Catholic, my mom is Methodist, and we went to a Baptist church for a while with my grandma. I was raised just non-denominational Christian, and I still think about that often. I don't know if I really resonate as much with it. I've been really trying to figure out my spirituality journey, honestly, because I do sort of envy the version of myself that had such faith, but after COVID, specifically taking a break from church, because obviously you couldn't go to church physically in person, it made me reflect on a lot of the values and some of the things I felt like I didn't really align with anymore. So I kind of broke out of that. It's not something I practice weekly. I don't go to church currently, but I do believe that there is something out there. I don't know if that's the universe. I don't know if that's God. I don't know. I'm still working through that and on that. I don't want to say it's one thing or the other. I am a very spiritual, very faithful person. I just maybe guess I don't know what that is towards, and I'm figuring that out. So we'll see. But if you're my mom watching, yes. I'm gonna get a call from her in 20 minutes. Thoughts on InBody scans. They're great ideas of where you're sitting. They're not super, super accurate. There's so many variables that can potentially throw them off. If you're doing an InBody scan after you've eaten a bunch of meals and after you've trained, that's not gonna be really that accurate. but they can be helpful, just general data points if you're curious about it, but nothing to derive excess meaning from unless you're like competing for something or something like that and you need to have, you know, going on it fasted first thing in the morning, that kind of thing. But usually people, it's at the gym, at least for me, so usually you're already trained, you're already hydrated, stuff like that, so it's gonna kind of skew things a little bit. But they're like, I would say like 70% accurate, 70-80% accurate. So it's a general framework. Do you drink alcohol? Not often, really. It makes me a little anxious usually when I do, but I'll enjoy a drink, absolutely. If I'm going, I mean, when Nick and I go to Nashville, oh, what is it, Tennessee whiskey? I don't really drink whiskey, but I can try it. I just don't drink very often, but I do sometimes. Whenever I go out, I usually just stick to my clear liquors or my seltzers. So, and I do like a good cider. It's also very good. Someone said, do you consider yourself a peanut butter addict? Why are you asking that like it's a bad thing? There's a negative connotation there, and I don't quite understand. And maybe, what's it to ya? Someone said, go-to snack in a hurry. This is gonna sound so like Freely the Banana Girl coded. I really just grab fruit. When I'm in a hurry, that's usually what's just out, is apples and bananas. So I just grab that, or sometimes I'll grab, like if I have protein bars, I'll just grab that or something like that really quick, or just a handful of meat. That always works. Top 5 Legion protein powders. Okay, I gotta lock in for this one. Salted, this is not in ranked in like 1 to 5, this is just my top 5, okay? Salted caramel, chocolate hazelnut, peanut butter fudge, cookie butter. I guess banana bread if you're making my oatmeal that I make with cocoa powder, peanut butter, banana half mashed in there, half on top, drizzled in peanut butter. Oh, so good, those are my top. Thoughts on the new fit body category for bodybuilding? Just want to preface this, I am not a bodybuilder quite yet, so I don't feel like my opinion really matters to it. I understand why they did that. If you're unfamiliar, basically, to sum it up very quickly, it's a category of bodybuilding that is not as super lean, definition, shape, symmetry, those kind of things. It's just more of like a fitness category sort of thing. I think that from a marketing perspective, it's very smart because it gets a lot of people in that space and doing habits that serve them long term. I think that it's a great idea to get people moving, to get people striving for a goal. I love that. I will say when I think about bodybuilding, it's a sport. It's something that is hard. It is something that you really need to dedicate your time to. And I can imagine from somebody who maybe has competed on a pro level or even just not on a pro level, feeling a little bit, I don't want to say offended, but a lot of what makes bodybuilding so admirable is the amount of hard work it takes. And I'm not trying to say that the fit category doesn't take hard work, because it absolutely does. But I feel like that's part of why it's such a, for me, I teetered about it for so long because I understood, okay, this is a serious, if I'm gonna commit to this, I really need to make sure that I'm ready for it. And I feel like it's kind of taking some of that hard appeal out of what the sport is for so many people. But I can understand why it would be appealing for a lot of people, because it's still the fun of stage and, you know, doing something really hard without maybe going as severe as other things. But I also could imagine that as a pro or as somebody who does compete, maybe feeling a little bit like disrespected in a way that, wow, okay, you know, not disrespected, that's kind of dramatic. I just feel like it takes away from what makes bodybuilding a lot of what it is how much hard work and dedication and how crazy it is. So to kind of dial it back just to get more people into it, I'm both grateful that other people are starting to take other variables about their health seriously, but also a little bit like, when I think of bodybuilding, I think of the more severe end of things and that amount of hard work and dedication. And that's not to say that those people aren't putting in hard work, because they absolutely are. Anything that gets people conscious about their health, I'm an advocate for, absolutely. But I think from a competitor standpoint, it's kind of like, well, that's, you know, what makes it so hard is by taking it those extra steps. And that's kind of why it's such a competitive sport and something that people take so seriously. So maybe that's not the correct perspective to have on it. I think if you compete in it, that's awesome. And I think that's very attainable for a lot more people, which if it can get more people into the sport, that's awesome. I don't really know how I feel. I don't know if my opinion even matters because I haven't competed yet, but maybe my answer will change after I do so. We'll see. How to take rest days and a break from exercise. If you value getting stronger in your recovery, then you're gonna value your rest days. When it comes to how to, you just do it. You just sit down, you focus on other variables. The gym is like 3% of your day. I schedule my rest days, so I know Mondays and Saturdays are my rest days, so I don't give myself space to be like, ooh, do I want to? No, they're scheduled, they're twice a week. That's just what you do. With anything, you know, you follow the plan the same way that you follow the resistance training protocol. You need to follow your rest day protocol as well. It's very, very important for recovery to make sure that you are getting stronger, so that all that lovely time that you dedicate to the gym is being utilized to the caliber that it could be. I got a lot of questions just asking how school's going. School's going very well. I end my semester, May 2nd is my final exam for one of my classes, but my other class also ends on May 2nd. I met with my advisor about that, and so I'm going to be graduating planned around fall of 2027. So I still got a hot minute to go. I am choosing to embrace that. I do love my routine and I love school, and my biggest goals with school were two things. Number one, I'm not taking a loan out. I wanted to avoid taking out any loans at all cost. And number two, to not overwhelm myself for no reason. There's no rush. And for so long, I thought that, well, I have to graduate when all my friends do. Why? You just work for the rest of your life, you know? So if I can prolong that period, grow my business, you know, take care of myself, do what I need to do, reach different goals in the time being, and pay it off as I go, I would rather it take longer and be paid off than to take a loan out just to rush it for what? So I'm not super concerned about the timeline thing, but that is what mine is roughly around 2 years left of school. But I'm really loving the program. I love everything about it. I love the classes. I love the teachers. So I'm really, really feeling good about that. Advice for getting over somebody that you never even dated. Allow yourself to feel sad, okay? There's no hierarchy of pain just because you weren't with somebody for real, or, you know, if you had a breakup and it was a month-long relationship or a 5-year relationship, you're still a human who is grieving. Allow yourself to grieve, to feel that, and that's the only way to move on, is to truly allow yourself to feel upset by that. You don't have to shame yourself into, well, we never even dated. Okay, you can make connections to anything in the world. Just because there's a label on it doesn't mean that it's gonna be better or worse, you know? Someone asked, what's one limiting belief you've had to unlearn? The biggest one for me is that people are not judging you the way that you are judging you. I used to refrain from filming around my family because I was so insecure that they were going to be like over analyzing what I was saying or what I was doing. I mean this in a kind way, you're just not that important. Like my videos, what I'm saying, my parents are not tuned in and dialed in as much as I am, duh, because they're not like in the video. So I've been learning a lot about embracing just doing what I need to do and letting other people have opinions about that, and not feeling like I need to only be alone to do what I need to do. That's the biggest thing, is I've really learned how much I value connection. And for a very long time, I thought I had to be alone to be productive. I viewed time with other people as distracting of what I need to do, and I would avoid, you know, hanging out with people or getting my family involved in things and stuff, because I was like, no, I need to focus on myself. And we need connection as human beings, and it's been very liberating to be like, wait, no, I can do this with somebody else. I don't have to only be alone to be productive. I think that kind of lone wolf syndrome has been the most liberating to break out of, because you realize that other people actually want you to do well and they're cheering you on, and that also releases a lot of pressure or tension around things being dependent on circumstances. So for example, I used to only film when like my kitchen was empty and everybody was gone for the day. And then sometimes my family's home all day and I would feel stress that, okay, I can't film a video today. Why? Just film it while they're in there. Who cares? And it was projection because it was me judging me. But even with the gym too, you know, filming in the gym and not being like, well, other people are judging me. Who the fuck cares? Let them. The Mel Robbins theory, let them judge me and let me continue to do what I need to do. And who's to say that other people are not viewing that and like being so inspired and proud of what you're doing, you know? Did you get bloated when you first started taking creatine? No, I didn't. As long as you stay super hydrated, you should be okay. Everybody reacts differently from it. If you're using a monohydrate, that's what I use. I use the Recovery from Legion post-workout drink. It has my creatine in it. I've taken creatine every single day for like 5 years now. Just drink your water, stay hydrated, and you're fine. I would recommend it for anybody. Code Haley if you want to. If Teddy's peanut butter didn't exist, what peanut butter would you use? Hey, my tears. Actually, is that an answer? No, I don't know. Probably the Smucker's natural one. Just any kind of natural peanut butter. It really does make a huge difference. Any advice you'd give your past self? Sit down. You're good. You're good, girl. Chill the fuck out. You're really gonna be okay. It's okay. Stop freaking out all the time. You're good. I promise. Enjoy things. You're good. That's also advice I'm giving myself right now. Anxiety around finances and feeling like I'm not doing enough. Anxiety tells you where you might need to be putting some of your attention. So if you're feeling anxious around your money, maybe that's a sign that you could be doing something to help alleviate that. Maybe that's investing in a Roth IRA or getting educated on other things in saving practices or making a budget planner. If you're feeling nervous around that, maybe start to implement structures that help you alleviate that a little bit. So meet with a financial advisor, or start to watch videos online or read books about saving money, or create some kind of piggy bank plan or something like that for yourself. And that way you know, okay, I'm feeling a little bit nervous about where I'm sitting financially, but I have things implemented to help me feel better about that. And those little baby steps make a big difference. Headphones you use at the gym, pros and cons. I use the Beats Studio 3. Pros is the charge lasts a really long time. I love them. They're very durable. Cons, they do slip off my head sometimes and I have to take them off during like flat press or like hyper extensions, and that gets kind of annoying. I used to have Bose somethings. I had 2 pairs of those. One, I saved all my money from my freaking pizza job to get them and somebody stole them, and then Bentley ate my other pair. So I just moved on to Beats because I was like, I can't have a 3rd pair of these because my heart hurts. I loved those, and I don't think those slipped off as much, and I liked how they looked a lot better, but they are a lot pricier, so I think Beats do the job. I had AirPods for a little bit, but they broke, and they were very inconsistent for me, and I always forgot to charge them, and it was just a headache. What is your biggest regret in life? I don't have any regrets, actually, because I don't believe in that. I think that regrets are silly. To look back on your life with insight that you have now and judge it, that doesn't make sense. How would past me know that? She didn't have the knowledge that I have right now. There are things that maybe I could have done differently, but you could say that about pretty much everything ever. So I don't have any regrets. There are mistakes that I've made. I've been in the wrong multiple times. I could have avoided a lot of pain totally by doing things differently, but I also would have avoided a lot of growth by doing things differently too. That's kind of the whole point. So, least favorite food. I don't think I have a least. I'm not picky at all. I really can't think of anything. I mean, I will literally eat anything. I will say Nick and I got hibachi one time and we tried chicken livers. They were very gritty. I don't know if they were just cooked incorrectly. Liver King, let me know. I didn't love those, but overall I will literally eat anything that you put in front of me. I'm not picky at all. What is something on your bucket list? Northern Lights and skydiving. If we go to Alaska this summer and I can see the Northern Lights, I will implode. I don't know if where we're going you can see them from there, but we shall see. Someone said, what is your favorite protein powder for your yogurt bowls? I don't put protein powder in my yogurt bowls. I use Jell-O Mix, but in the time that I did do it, I would do butterscotch with the salted caramel, and it was so freaking good. As a coach and soon to be competitor and doing social media, do you burn out? I have experienced times where I do feel slower. To be transparent, I'm kind of in one right now. I feel not super creative, and that can be very discouraging, but I try to implement rest, to implement scheduling. Okay, you know, this is my day schedule. I'm gonna give myself an hour to think about some video ideas, and whatever happens in the hour is what it is. Anything outside of that, I'm going to let myself just enjoy the rest of my day and focus on other variables. I do feel a little bit burned out right now, not burnt out of what I still want to, you know, be consistent and everything like that, but I just haven't really been feeling super creative. But I try really hard to just not take that personally. It's okay. You're not a robot who can constantly be, you know, and like you mentioned, like you're a coach and you're also going to be competing and doing social media and stuff like that. There's so much that requires your attention. If you don't have the capacity to think of content all the time, that's okay. I got a question also asking like, what's a mantra that you repeat to yourself? You are not a robot. I remind myself all the time of that, because there are times where I'll focus so much on my inputs of, oh, you know, why is my lift feeling weak? I'm rested, I'm well fed, I'm hydrated. Because you're a person. It doesn't need to be perfect all the time. It's not gonna be perfect all the time. So I try not to take those things personally, and I've been trying to really focus on my rest and doing things that help me feel better. Like even just stopping my what I eat in a day videos were a huge step for me in feeling a lot more creative with food videos in general, because I felt very tied down to that and it kind of drained me out. So I've been really enjoying doing that. So maybe just look for things in your routine that you notice really do drain you and see if you can either implement more rest, do something completely different, you know, talk to a friend, something like that, decompress in some way. The biggest thing that I've really learned this year is just being more creative about ways to work alongside myself. And I learned one of my favorite books. I got asked some book recommendations. I'm currently reading Alleviating Anxiety, I believe is what it's called, by Martha Beck. I love her so much. She has taught me that creativity is the antidote to anxiety. If you can be, I hope to God this was focused the whole time. If you can be creative about things, that makes it nearly impossible to be anxious at the same time. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, why is my lift going bad? Pause. Maybe this could be the next best set of my life. Maybe I can try to view things this way. Kind of reminds me of the quote, if you view the way you look at things, the way you look at things changes, or something like that. If you change the way you view things, the things you view change. Someone asked, do you and your sister look alike? Not at all. We look like polar opposites. She was born in the spring, I was born in the winter. She has dark, long brown hair. I have light hair. I mean, my hair is kind of darker, but it usually is blonder than it is. My hair appointment's in like a month. I forgot to schedule it. Okay, you guys know how long this book out. And yeah, we look nothing alike at all. I think she looks more like my dad, and I usually hear that I look more like my mom. Rank most to least ideal for you. Nut, dairy, or gluten allergy. Wow, I would say, oh my God, it would go gluten, nut, and dairy. Dairy would be the worst for me, I think. Gluten, I can just find other bread alternatives and stuff. I'm not really, is there gluten in potatoes? I don't think so. And nuts, I would just have to find an alternative. That would suck, but dairy, I can't. Without my milk, my yogurt, my cheese, I don't think I could do that. What's your middle name? My middle name is Jane. Haley Jane Cordova, hello. Are you currently tracking your calories or not? Love you, by the way. Love you too. I am tracking my calories. I've been tracking for the past couple months. Just keeps me super consistent. It's been a really easy way to solidify my weight to trend upward. So yes, I do track right now. What music have you been listening to lately? In the gym, I listen to a lot of rap, kind of like metal-y, Suicide Boys kind of vibes. Outside of that, I've really been enjoying indie music recently. If you have any indie bands that you would recommend, I really would appreciate that, because I kind of feel like I've gotten the same ones over and over again. What editing software do you use? My YouTube, I use Wondershare, Filmora. For my videos, I usually just edit in TikTok, or I'll sometimes use CapCut, but not all the time. That's the only software that I really use with that. Someone asked favorite fitness brand of all time. It is DFYNE. I am an affiliate with them, but that's just all that I wear. So truly, it's DFYNE. You can use code HaleyC if you want to. But it's just, if you've tried a pair of shorts, you get it. I mean, it's just the best. I do like some Gymshark stuff, but I don't really buy it consistently. I do receive clothes from DFYNE monthly, so I don't really buy other things because I just don't feel like that's really necessary. I'm very blessed and I'm really grateful, but that would definitely be DFYNE if I had to choose. How to handle eating when you aren't hungry or have no appetite. You just do it and that's it. Like that's the worst advice ever, but it's not that deep. You don't need to know how to handle it to do it. Make your meals denser throughout the day. For me, having a really big breakfast is really, really helpful. Or I make a lot of bulking shakes where I'll put like half a cup of oats, a banana, peanut butter, protein, yogurt, honey, you know, a bunch of shit in a shake, blend it up, drink it. And that's it. And I think sometimes if you overcomplicate it, or particularly if you are trying to grow, if you try to low calorie everything, you're gonna have a very hard time. Just put oil on it. Just cover it in peanut butter. Put an avocado in there and that's it. It is hard sometimes and it is uncomfortable sometimes, but it's more uncomfortable to me to know that I could have crossed off my, you know, my macro box and I didn't. So I would rather just do it a little bit uncomfortable. Top 3 tips from your fat loss journey. Steps, high protein, high volume foods, really focusing on getting at least your body weight in grams, preferably a lot more than that, focusing on veggies, fiber, things like that to bulk up your meals. And your training intensity. Make sure that your training intensity is on par and that you're treating it seriously and not just kind of going and playing around with it, are definitely my biggest things. Do you use the sauna? I don't use the sauna, but it's fun sometimes. I used to. I could maybe some more. It's great. I think heat and cold therapy stuff is really, really cool. I just don't honestly really do it. Usually my time in the gym, I have a fragmented time in my day and it's like in and out. So, but I have in the past and I do really enjoy it. Yeah, someone asked when do you graduate? It's gonna be fall of 2027, guys. Guys, we're gonna have to strap in with each other, but what a blessing that my education gets to go on for that long. How amazing is that? Someone said, how do you cope with anxiety? I take it along with me in my little backpack and I say, you are safe here, I love you. What can you teach me? What are you trying to protect me from? And I listen to her and I just continue to do what I'm doing. I don't try to overcome it or like beat it. Beat it, beat it. How long did it take you to get to your physique? I've been training for going on 5 years now. So I would say that consistently training probably 3, because the first year and a half, 2 years, I wasn't really doing anything seriously, but I have been in the gym for 5 years, consistently training for 3 years. Wackiest food combo you've ever eaten? I can't even think about them because I feel like they all are. I would say that beef and yogurt video has got to be up there. Probably the beef video is honestly, that was my apex of my career. Thoughts on free weights versus machines. Free weights are going to be more challenging than machines because they require you for more stability. You're doing more of the work versus machines are going to be more stable. I will say when it comes to Smith machine, I am such a slut for a Smith machine. I use it in almost, not all my lifts, all my leg days I do use it because it's so stable. And especially for grip strength, for step-ups, for example, when I'm trying to hold a dumbbell, usually my wrists would fail out before my legs would. So if you can load it in a way that helps you go heavier and still progressively overload, use the Smith machine. There's no shame in that at all. But whichever one works the best for you is whichever one you can stay the most consistent with and progressively overload with. There's no better or worse, but free weights are the progressed version typically of machine movements. Someone asked, you mentioned traveling this summer. What would that look like while bodybuilding? It'll just look like preparation, just bringing meals around or having to maybe, you know, plan out some things. I bring my gallon jug with me really anyways. It'll just take some planning and some, you know, tracking and stuff. But if you're adamant about it and if you care about it, then it's nothing too big of a deal. And I'm so grateful that my support system understands my goals and I feel very comfortable to do that. So it just would come down to bringing some things, maybe prepping ahead of time, prepping some meals for like a car ride or something like that, and just doing the best that I can. I don't know, again, what my timeline is for prep, so I might not even be in prep this summer, and maybe that wouldn't be a variable that I would have to consider. We'll have to see. That's an answer I genuinely don't know yet. Someone said, what breed of dog is Bentley? My doggies are not with me right now, but I have 2 Australian Shepherds. I used to have 3. If you guys have been watching my YouTube for a while, you would know Bella was my childhood doggie. We lost her last year, I believe. Was it last year? Wow. All Australian Shepherds, but Bentley and Luna are minis. Believe it or not, because Bentley's a big boy, but we're really trying. I walk him daily. Really trying, okay? Someone asked, how is your experience with your Apple Watch and the move numbers on it? I've loved my Apple Watch. It really helps me stay on time with things. It's a watch. It's literally a watch. When it comes to the movement stuff, it was very insightful because I didn't realize how much I was walking prior to my Apple Watch. So it was nice to help me reduce some excess step stuff that I was getting without even really knowing it. I don't have the exercise thing like set up on it super hard or anything. So I got another question asking like how to get over the obsessive stuff. Some people, they say that if you're sitting for a while, it'll tell you to like stand up. I don't even have that feature on there. Turn that off. My move goals are very low. My girlie Jillian, who sent me this was a gift. I'm so incredibly grateful. And I just have whatever her settings were. So my move goal and everything is very low. And maybe that could be helpful if you're dealing with stress with that. I don't really fixate on it though. I use it for time. For time and for weather. When I wake up in the morning, I'll check the weather to see, like, cause I don't go on my phone in the mornings to see if I wanna get a little morning walk and what the weather vibe is for that morning. But yeah, if you are dealing with obsessing over that, turn it off or take it off. Sometimes it's just better not to know. For the last question, someone asked, do you plan on moving out anytime soon? Honestly, no. I know that right now it could be something that I could do, but I'm trying to be smart with my financial things, and with school, my plan is to stay home with my parents and also just help with my dad. He's getting older. And I just don't think it makes the most sense for me to move out. It's something I would love to do, but I'm also just trying to save my money. And if I can do school from home, work from home, and save up in the process, that just makes the most sense for me. I am at Nick's place very often throughout the week. I don't plan on like moving in with him anytime soon because I really don't think that that's smart to do super quick in a relationship. We're gonna be dating for almost a year now in May. But yeah, I'm not gonna impede myself into there, but I am there quite often. So I don't have a specific timeline for that. If something changed and an opportunity came up, then I would maybe capitalize off of it. But yeah, honestly, no, I don't plan on moving out until I graduate. Right now, just from a financial standpoint, I feel totally comfortable living at home, even if it isn't ideal, even if, you know, kids my age are moving out and doing all these things. I don't really feel a pressure because like, I just don't care. Like, that's just not, okay, you do that. That doesn't make sense for me and my finances. Why would I pay and rent out something in a space if I could do the same exact things from where I'm at right now before that's a requirement of me? So we'll see how things change with that, but I don't plan on it, but you never know. The future, you never know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A video. I appreciate and love you guys so dearly, so dearly. I love you so incredibly much. I hope you take care of yourself, okay? And go get big.